The diplomatic vessel Harmony's Promise drifted through the neutral zone between human and Kivrian space, its corridors humming with the nervous energy of first contact. Commander Lyra Voss stood in the observation deck, watching the Kivrian cruiser approach through the reinforced viewport. 3 years of negotiations had led to this moment. The first face-to-face meeting between humanity and the Kivri Confederation. Lyra rolled her shoulders, feeling the tension coiled between her vertebrae. 12 hours of briefings, another 6 of preparation ceremonies, and now this. She flexed her fingers, then interlaced them and pushed outward, producing a satisfying series of pops that echoed through the quiet deck. What she didn't know was that on the Kivrian vessel, panic had erupted. Ambassador Kivri, named for his species as a symbol of unity, watched the human commander through their long-range biological scanners. His fur, usually a dignified silver blue, had paled to near white. Around him, the bridge crew chittered in alarm, their large eyes fixed on the display showing the human's recent actions. She's activating her skeleton weapons, Chief Scanner Yurick squeaked, his tail rigid with fear. Listen to that sound, bone against bone, preparing for combat deployment. Kivri's ears flattened against his skull. Humans were terrifying enough in theory. They came from a death world where the gravity was crushing, the atmosphere was poison to most civilized species, and the dominant life forms spent their days hunting or being hunted. But the intelligence reports hadn't mentioned skeletal weaponry. "Are you certain?" Kivri asked, though the clicking sounds were unmistakable through their audio feeds. "Positive, Ambassador." She repeated the action multiple times. "And look," Yurick gestured to another screen showing biometric data. "Her heart rate is decreasing. She's entering a pre-combat calm state. This is a predator preparing to strike." Kivri's second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named Taurus, leaned forward. "Perhaps we should withdraw. Reopen negotiations through quantum channels." "No." Kivri's voice was steadier than he felt. "We've come too far. The Confederation needs this alliance. We need to understand our new neighbors, no matter how unsettling their biology." He didn't add that the alternative, having humanity as enemies, was far worse than any skeletal clicking. Lyra was unaware of the crisis her simple gesture had caused. She was reviewing the cultural protocols one last time when her second officer, Lieutenant Chen, entered the observation deck. "Commander, we're getting some unusual readings from the Kivrian ship. Multiple heat signatures moving rapidly. Could be a drill or they're nervous," Lyra finished. She cracked her neck, another habit from her academy days. "Can't blame them. We're probably just as scary to them as they were described to us. Giant predator species from a gravity well that would crush most of them." Chen nodded. "The Xenopsych team did say first impressions would be critical. The Kivri are prey species derived, evolved from something like Earth rabbits, if rabbits were the size of wolves and could build starships." Lyra smiled grimly. "Then we'd better make sure we don't look like we're about to pounce." She was still cracking her knuckles absently as she said it. On the Kivrian bridge, a junior communications officer named Selkie made a discovery. Her paws trembled as she pulled up the human cultural database they'd been studying for months. "Ambassador, I think I may have found something." Every ear on the bridge swiveled toward her. "The skeletal sounds, they appear in human medical literature. It's called cracking joints or popping knuckles. It's..." She paused, whiskers twitching as she processed the absurdity. "It's a habit. A stress relief mechanism. It's not weaponry at all." The bridge fell silent. Then Yurick spoke, voice small. "You're telling me we've been in high alert because the human was nervous?" "The database describes it as releasing synovial gas bubbles in the joint capsule," Selkie read. "Humans do it when they're anxious, tired, or preparing for strenuous activity. It's considered a minor social habit, sometimes viewed as impolite but generally harmless. Taurus let out a long breath through his nose. A death-world species that weaponizes relaxation? Of course. But Kivri was staring at the screen with new understanding. No, he said slowly. Don't you see? This is exactly why we need this alliance. Humans don't just survive their death world. They've turned even their biology's quirks into coping mechanisms. While we panic at unexpected sounds, they've learned to find comfort in the mechanical. He stood, adjusting his ceremonial sash. What we interpreted as a threat was actually vulnerability. She's as nervous as we are. The airlock hissed open, and the two delegations finally met face to face. Lyra stood tall, forcing herself to remain still and non-threatening, despite every instinct screaming to pace, to fidget, to crack her knuckles one more time. Across from her, Ambassador Kivri stepped forward on digitigrade legs, his large eyes meeting hers. For a moment, neither species moved. Then Kivri did something his staff had never seen before. He deliberately thumped his powerful hind leg against the deck plating, once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the chamber. Lyra blinked in surprise. Her briefings had mentioned this. The Kivrian alarm response, similar to how Earth rabbits thumped to warn their warrens. He was showing her his own nervous habit, his own biological quirk. A smile broke across Lyra's face. She slowly raised her hands, interlaced her fingers, and pushed outward. The distinctive crack, crack, crack of her knuckles filled the space between species. Kivri's ears twitched forward, the Kivrian equivalent of a smile. "Commander Voss," he said in carefully practiced English, "thank you for your patience with our misunderstanding." "Ambassador Kivri," Lyra replied, her shoulders finally relaxing. "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Just maybe we should both work on our nervous habits." Behind both leaders, their respective crews began to relax. Humans and Kivri alike realized that perhaps the galaxy's most terrifying species weren't so different from its most cautious ones. Both were simply trying to navigate a universe far larger than themselves, armed with nothing but their wits, their courage, and the small comforts of biology. And sometimes that was enough.